Hello and welcome back. In this tutorial I'll be modeling this game object. So this game object or this model does not belong to me. I found it on Pinterest. And before I go any further, I want to show you this. So with each project I do include the file so you can open it and take a look at it. And it is available for download, so I will always include the zip file where it has all the models in it from all previous tutorials and videos. And now let's proceed to the tutorial. So right now we have this, and let's analyze it in Krita. So as you can see, even though it does look like a cylinder, maybe let's throw it well with this one right here. Let's adjust the angle, and so this is not helping. So even though this is a cylinder object, it is kind of hard to make it as a cylinder because all the crevices and the edges and the variations in height. So instead we will be using a box, a rectangular box, and we will bend them to make it look like a cylinder. So for now we will be creating an individual boxes, and I think these boxes will have 3 segments. I think two segments. And once we are done shaping, turning it into an array of blocks, then bend it, we will apply an FFD modifier to give it that distortion or skewiness. Let's switch to 3ds Max and start building it. So we have an empty scene in 3ds Max, and let's create a box. So for now I will switch to top view, and I want to build this box in a precise manner. So I want to use the grid to my advantage, and I'm thinking of using maybe 3 units, maybe 4. Does not matter, it's up to you. So let's turn on snap and let's right click on it so we can see the options, and I want to pick grid points, and right now we are seeing those grid points. Let's give it some height, even though we're not seeing height, but by moving our mouse we are creating a height. So let's turn off snap by pressing S, and we see the box right here. So let's make it a bit high, and let's take a look at the image. We can see a chamfer right here. So we can see a chamfer, and we also can see an angle right here. So we'll create those right now. So let's go into box and change it to an editable poly, and let's select those edges and let's chamfer them. And right now it's giving us a curvy shadow, and if you notice it does look like it's not proportional. So let's exit from it and let's go into, so we will try this method, reset XForm, reset selected, and right here we do collapse all. And now let's select those edges right here and chamfer. So it looks a lot better now. It looks uniform. So let's remove that and let's accept the changes. And since this has created an n-gon, so we want to change that. So let's go to back view and X-ray mode, and let's add that edge, and let's use the cut tool to make those edges and connect them. That's good. And now let's switch back to the image. So right now we are making this angle, so this is simple. All we need to do is select those edges. Because of the chamfer it might create some issues, but I don't think so. So let's try that. Yeah, you see, so we'll need to realign the vertices. So I'm too lazy to do that, so I will just apply an FFD. And let's select those control points. And let's see how the vertices is moving along. So and it's making it much easier to work with. Maybe just enough, and then collapse all. Maybe what we want to do is effect the pivot and center it to the object. And now let's apply the array modifier. So as we have said before, I think, or if I haven't said it, let's switch back to the image and look at it. So we see 1, 2, so we see 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 pieces of wood. So let's make sure we have 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is perfect. And let's add a bend tool. And let's move it to 360. And let's adjust the orientation and then the direction. Let's exit from X-ray mode so we can see how it looks. So this is perfect. Let's switch back to the image just to see it. So since this is an array, let's go in here and maybe make it a little bit thinner. how it looks like. So this is good so far. Let's add an edit poly on top of it, and let's move those vertices a bit up. Maybe we'll I think it would be a good idea if we load a reference image. And before we go any further, let's center the object. So go into hierarchy, effect pivot only, and center to object. And right here, we can reset those values. All we have to do is just right click on the arrows and it will change it to 0. Maybe we'll move this up a little bit. And now let's load the image. So let's create a plane. And in the edit tab, let's change that to 1 by 1. And let's activate the M material by pressing M and drag a material to it. So you can drag if you want to apply the material. Let's rotate this by 90 degrees so we can see the image. And if we click on this empty box, it will allow us to choose what kind of material we want. So we want a bitmap. Let's go into desktop or the location you have saved it in, and we can see the mug right now. So I will only adjust the angle so it is upright. So this one seems to be a bit higher, so let's make sure it's a bit lower. And let's start editing some of the vertices so that we make sure that some of these are tall, some of these are short, and maybe we can adjust the chamfer that we added to it. So let's go into polygons, let's select this one, move it up a little bit, and let's go maybe to this one right here, maybe down, and maybe the chamfer is a bit reduced. Maybe we'll move this up a little bit. And maybe select this, maybe make it a little bit higher. Let's select the edge and make it at an angle. Maybe this one is a bit smaller. So it just be a variations. And let's make maybe this one a bit high. And this one maybe a bit high. Maybe this is a bit too high. Let's just bring it down just a little bit. Maybe give it some angle, maybe. Okay. So this is good. And now let's add an FFD 2 by 2 by 2 so that we can make the top or maybe the bottom a bit wider. So let's go into control points and maybe select those points and give them a little bit of a push. This is good. Let's open the material editor and let's change the color of the object to black and change the material to something standard. And now let's do collapse all. And now we should give it the ring around the cup. So to do that, it's a cylinder. So let's see what's the difference between these. So a lot of time I do see what's available, what's not available, and that's fine. So I will do undo, remove the slice, and I will make this, you know what, I'll give it I'll give it 2, and this is good. And let's convert to an editable poly. And what we want right now, and what we want to do right now is we select those vertices and delete them. Since we will not see the inside of the ring, we do not need to bridge it. So let's center this. So you have to be careful. If you select the scale, you will change it from here, and we do not want that. So let's add a ring around it. So based on the reference, it's way close to the end. Let's make sure the scale is small, and let's move those edges all the way to the end. It should not penetrate the surface of the cup. And the only reason I've added these two so that we can make those look like chamfered edges. Awesome. So this is good. Let's open the material and let's drag it. And now let's add another one to the top. All we need to do is take this, shift, and move it up. Let's make it a bit smaller so it fits the cup. And this looks like it's going to the middle, and from the looks of it, it's a bit thin. And same thing for this one, maybe it's a little bit thinner. And now let's do the handle. So the handle seems easy to make, so we shall use the line tool. So let's go left. So from the looks of it, it goes up straight. So let's make sure it's selected. Up straight. And then maybe. And now let's enable in view editor. Let's add a rectangle. Let's make it thick, maybe thick, and let's make it wider so it looks quite wide. But the width is going outside, it's not going inside. So I'm wondering if you can do that. No, I don't think so. Okay. So for now, let's make sure that is a bit thin, and then once we add an editable poly, we can select those faces and let's add a thickness to it. Or no, sorry, extrude. And let's do binormal. And let's make that a bit thin. So this makes a lot more sense than before. And based on these vertices, it should go in as well. And based on this image, and the rest is good. Let's add those cloth around the handle. So what we do is, all we need to do is just select those vertices and do extrude. Let's exit from X-ray mode, and let's apply materials to it. And let's change those colors along with the handle to black. So we are almost there. All we need to do is add those bolts. So to do that, so let's create a sphere. And let's make the resolution a bit low. And let's delete half of it. Let's move it to the cup. And so for each log there is one screw. So for each log there is one bolt. So let's make this smaller. Let's take a look at the reference image. So it's almost as high as the ring. So let's change that to local. No, it's not gonna work. So let's give it a view. Okay. And now I think this is a bit too thick. So I will adjust the pivot and rotate it so that it faces this direction. And the reason for that is so when I scale it, at least it scales correctly. You shouldn't be doing that just in emergency situation you do, but overall you shouldn't. But now you know, just in case you were wondering how to fix it. So now when you switch to local, it somewhat looks correct. And now we want to adjust the so we want to make duplicates, and we want to make a duplicate for 5 times. And in order to do that, we want the pivot point to be centered with the cup, so it goes around with the cup. So the way to do that is you effect pivot and you turn on snap, and we pick pivot point. So we pick the pivot point right here. You turn off effect pivot and you rotate. So we want to do shift and rotate. So let's turn on angle snap. And we need to make 5. So we need to make 4 copies, 1 for each log. And it did not come out correct, so let's undo that. Let's try again. So it's okay. And for this one it makes sense to be here. And now let's make duplicates. Press W and shift and move up. Let's make that a little bit smaller. And let's select those vertices. And let's open the material editor and let's apply the material to them. And now we have a complete low poly model. So if you wish now you can unwrap it. Maybe if you want, just open your V editor and you can see the wraps here. So if you wish, all you have to do is just do a cylinder and then unwrap, and you will see how it would look like. But in this case, so let's go into element and detach them so that it is a lot easier to unwrap. And right now let's go into this one to unwrap so we can see all the seams. So to avoid that, just do a rectangle and then peel. So you go into etch and you start stitching. So we select the whole thing, and you maybe want to relax it. So the best thing to do is you apply a checker pattern to it, so you can see how it looks like. So we are aiming for equal checker. So like for example here, this is a bit too extended and this is a bit too small. So maybe you keep relaxing. So I think right now this area should not be, yeah, it should not be stitched. Stitch selected, yeah, and this one as well. Stitch selected, okay. So we can see a preview what we are selecting. So if we select, let's switch to faces. So this is the side, and this is the internal, and maybe so yeah, it is up to you on how you want to stitch it. So those are the bottom, is it? No, those are the top ones. Sides, and then the internal. And this is the internal. Okay. I think I'm not a big fan of it. So I want to select those edges and maybe just break. And maybe I want those ones to be stitched. Yeah. And let's see what we have so far. Let's switch back to faces. So these are the internal. Also I would, maybe I do not want them to be part of the top, so this is like a separate one, so I want to break it and maybe let it be part of this one. So let's switch back to edges and try select stitch targeted. So yeah, so far this is good. And now let's select the whole thing and maybe just relax it. Yeah, now it looks, the flow is a lot better, and the squares is looking a lot more even. So this is good. So we move this aside, close it, and we do apply all. Now let's unwrap this one. Let's apply the cylinder shape. Let's make it fit, and let's peel. So this is good. I think the face is not. Is it the whole thing? So let's switch to edges. Let's see. Sorry, faces. So I'm seeing hidden edges. So let's select all and let's relax it. Yeah. So they are missing faces. So let's apply the checker so we can see it. Yeah, we see a lot of distortion. So let's select those edges right here, and we start stitching. I think it froze. Yeah, now it's good. Okay. Okay. So let's break this. Why is it not working? Okay. So I will be trying the side menus because I think I'm having an issue with the right click. So so let's stitch those. So right here, let's stitch that. undo. And right here, this one right here, so I think this one belongs to that one, so this one right here, we want to break it. And to do that from the side menu, I have no idea how to do that, so yeah, right here, break. And now we can stitch that, stitch one right, this one, also stitch this one and this one. And right here we break this one, and then we stitch the rest. Stitch, stitch, stitch. We also stitch this one, so we have a big gap that needs to be closed. Let's stitch those. Okay, this is good. After you are done with the stitching, we want to relax it so that it becomes a bit uniform. So let's rotate this so it does look like it is still stretched. Maybe we need to so it needs to go longer. Because this has to be a perfect square in a way. And then we should also make sure that these are straight lines. And this one as well. Let's see if we can do a few at the same time. No, we can't. It merges them, so it should be done independently. So UV unwrapping is the most tedious part of any 3D modeling. And usually if there is the texture staff, they're the one who's doing the unwrapping. And right now we have a good shape, good looking shape. And let's collapse all. So right now I will not unwrap this, I just do copy. Yeah, it's too much work, so we just do copy and then we will shrink it. Let's unwrap this one. Let's select a sphere and let's unwrap it really quickly. So this is what we have so far. So let's go into edges and let's stitch those. Let's select the whole thing and relax it. Let's see if it looks good after we select a checker map. Yeah, it looks fine. Even though like the edges here, they're not maybe this is making it better. Relax custom. So let's rotate this and let's right click and collapse all. I'm sure there's a way where you can copy the data from here and apply it to the rest of the bolts. I'm not sure how, but I have seen it before. Yeah, so the most part is I just want to show you like how it's being done, and that's it. So let's unwrap this one. This is our final one. So unwrap, and this one is going to be a bit tricky, but for now I will select a rectangle and just do unwrap, peel. So we have this shape. So let's select edges, and right now this one right here I want to break, and this one too I want to also break it. It froze again. Let's break that, and then what we do is so it become this tiny, so let's undo that. So each became its own shape. We do not want that. So what we want is to do a quick peel. And we also need to add a seam around this edge. So we break it and then we peel again. So if we do hide unselected, so we have faces here that we do not want, and I think those faces are these two. Yeah, so what we want to do is we break those. We should remove that from the geometry itself. So what we can do is we can do an edit poly, and we go into that polygon, select those and delete, and then we add another edit, unwrap UV. So let's open the UV map. And let's relax it. Before we relax, let's make sure that this one right here so we need to stitch that, so let's do that. Okay, this is good. So let's select all and relax. Let's see how it looks like with the textures. So right here I'm not liking this. It is stitched, so we don't want it to be stitched. Yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. And let's make sure that the other side is broken as well, because I think it's breaking the relax process. Yeah, okay. So let's relax. So let's select all and relax. So let's make sure this is let's do the relaxing process independently. I think it's becoming much better if we do that. So we take that and we rotate. Let's select those edges. And make them straight. So we do the same. It makes the texturing process a lot simpler when we have straight lines. So remember that. And let's select this one, rotate it just a little bit, and let's straighten those lines. And let's straighten those lines as well. And now let's do collapse all and hide and hide all. So now once you finish the texturing process for the rest of the sub objects, you will be able to go into Krita, Affinity Photo, Photoshop, any software you like, and do a hand painted textures, then apply it and see it here. And that's it for this lesson. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.